Oh man, I just got my new Steam machine in. I'm so excited to grind in Apex.
Oh buddy, I think you made a mistake.
A mistake? I wanted the Steam machine for months.
Well, you can't play Apex Legends on that PC because Big Anti-Cheat won't allow you to play that on Linux.
You know what, that's fine. I'll play Fortnite.
Nope, can't play Fortnite either.
I'll play friggin' Warzone, I guess.
No Call of Duty.
Can I play any games on this thing?
You can play CS too.
Can I build something else?
Here it is. This is a PC that can run Windows, have a SteamOS-like interface with thanks to a software we're gonna be showing you guys how to put together, and it comes in cheaper than the Steam machine.
Oh, why did I even buy the Steam machine?
I don't know, but we're gonna show you guys at home step-by-step how to put this together and set up the software to make it possible after a word from today's sponsor.
If you spend most of your workday sitting at a desk and then head straight home to sit at a desk some more and play games just like we do, having the right chair can make a huge difference. Today's sponsor, ProtoArt, sent us 2 of their ergonomic office chairs to help answer a simple question: which one is right for you? First is the EC200, which is their value pick and one of the most balanced options under $200. A lot of chairs in this price range cut back on the adjustments you actually need for long sitting sessions, but the EC200 was designed to give you the adjustability and ergonomic support you'd expect without jumping into a much higher price bracket. Then there's the EC300, which is designed more for people who want to really dial in their back support. Its adjustable backrest accommodates a wider range of body types while providing stronger, more targeted lumbar support, making it easy to fine-tune the chair around how you actually sit. And if breathability is your biggest priority, there's also the EC200 Pro, which takes the EC200 approach but adds a full mesh design. So whether you're locked in for work or chilling at your gaming setup, no matter the use case, ProtoArt has a different chair option depending on the support and features you're looking for. Be sure to check out the EC200, EC300, and EC200 Pro using links down below. Big thanks to ProtoArt for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So guys, this is gonna be a fun step-by-step build guide where we're gonna show you how to build your own Steam machine that doesn't have to use a Linux OS. It's actually gonna be Windows-based, and we're able to play any game that we want, and it saves you money.
And also, you can use any hardware you want. If you're gonna build one of these yourself and you wanna run a Linux distro, normally you have to go AMD, but in this build we have an NVIDIA GPU and an AMD CPU, and we spent around $800 after tax for this build, but there is a caveat. The graphics card, which we'll talk about here in a second, we're using because we already did a video on the 3060 gig. We bought it new for $329. We do not recommend you do that. We recommend you buy one used or look at other options like an RTX 5050, which is a better bang for buck option, and go that route instead and save yourself a lot of money. And the $800 price point is counting this GPU being $329, so it could be a lot cheaper for you guys at home if you follow that advice. But let's talk about all the parts this build has to offer and why we went with them for this build, and then talk about the mod we will be doing in Windows 11. It's called Winhanced, and it will make our experience very similar to a Steam machine.
So to kick things off, we have all reliable, the Ryzen 5 5500 6-core 12-thread. Now, technically on paper, the Steam machine is going to sound a lot better than this, but I think you guys will see once we actually start gaming, with the help of having a dedicated GPU, the 5500 is actually gonna be pretty dang good. And obviously the main limitations is it's Gen 3 only. So if you were to get something like a 20 series, that's a Gen 3 card, but in our case, we get a Gen 4 card. So you might have like a 1% bottleneck, but it's no big deal. And it does come with a stock cooler. And we paid $79 actually on eBay brand new for this because these things are all over the place. You find them at Newegg, Walmart, eBay, Best Buy. Just find whatever you can for the best price. Now for $89, we have this ASRock B550M Pro 4. So this is a board that we highly recommend from Newegg. It's $89 and it's a cool board because it kind of stands out from a lot of the other B550s. This one actually has a nice VRM cover. It has 4 RAM slots. It actually has 2 4-pins for the CPU connector. And it even has additional headers and PCIe lanes that you're gonna want for future upgradability. So we like this board a lot, and it definitely is worth the extra $10 over those like $60 to $70 boards. And then Jonah reminded me that one thing to note is it does not have Wi-Fi. The Steam machine does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, so you're gonna have to buy like a separate card or a USB adapter. It's not a big deal. We got a good deal on some used RAM. This is Corsair Vengeance. This is the stuff that you just find all over the place on eBay. And we ended up paying $79 for it. And this is just some basic stuff, but it looks nice. And if you're willing to go used, you can save some money. This does not look like it was used for very long. It's still very clean. This RAM is 3600 megahertz and it's CL18. And like I said, it's 16 gigs, so not too bad for that price point that we paid. Now also from eBay for $95 right here, we got a Micron Gen 4 1TB SSD. And this is a pretty awesome deal for 95 bucks because I just paid $130 for a 1TB NVMe Gen 3 brand new. So Gen 4, but it's not gonna run in Gen 4. They're backwards compatible, so no big deal.
Now for the graphics card, because once again, we went with the RTX 3060 gig. We did a whole video on this graphics card. You can buy them new now in 2026, and they're actually new, not just dead stock. For 329 bucks, that price is not worth it. Go watch that whole video. You'll see a bunch of benchmarks with this GPU compared to the 5050. But if you are buying one used around 210 to 230 bucks. This graphics card makes a lot of sense for this build. It pairs very nicely, competes very nicely with that RX 7600 that's in the Steam machine in terms of raw horsepower, has a little more VRAM, and all in all, this card just makes sense if we're going NVIDIA. I feel like we're going to build a Steam machine for Windows. We should go NVIDIA just to be opposite of what the Steam machine actually is running AMD, but you can also go AMD as well. You can look on the used market for a 7600, or you can look at some other newer stuff from AMD, 9060 XT 8 gig. Really, you can do whatever you want with this system. We're all about trying to make this budget friendly, but you could go more expensive with a higher end GPU, higher end CPU, and all that, and follow the same guide at home in terms of setting things up for a couch gaming experience. But again, we're trying to get our ROI up with this graphics card. It's been sitting on our shelf since our last video, and $329 was a lot to pay for it. Now for the power supply, once again, Rosewill VSB 650 80 plus bronze power supply that's coming at a price point of $49. Now, one thing I will suggest when we talk about the case here in a second is if you can find a fully modular power supply, I highly suggest it because the case we are using is very compact. We wanted to make the build as small as possible to replicate the Steam machine as close as we can. Steam machine's still gonna be way smaller, but this is gonna be pretty compact still. But you will be spending more money on a fully modular power supply. But this one is at least semi-modular, so we can have cables we need and not a ton of extra cables on a non-modular power supply. And well, 650 watts is plenty for the build. So for the price, I think we'll be just fine. But if you want to make your life a lot easier, maybe look at some fully modular options and spend a few more dollars. Now, shout out to our case sponsor, Zalman, and their Cubix white case. This is another case from Zalman. We've been doing videos on their cases recently. This one right here, we have used many times on our ultra budget build series where we buy PCs for really cheap. And this case is no exception. It's 30 bucks. It's really cheap. You can get it in white or black, but that doesn't mean it's not good for certain use cases because it kind of has like a small form factor vibe to it without being super small, and it supports micro ATX. We did get an extra fan, specifically this Arctic Slim fan to go up front, which we honestly probably could just use a normal 120mm fan because we do have the spot right here where the fan can go, but we got a slim one just to be safe if our GPU is a little too long. But these slim fans are pretty cheap. They're like $8, so might as well throw it inside this case to get even extra airflow because there's a little tiny fan in the back for exhaust. The case is very basic, very bare bones, fits your power supply up top. Your PC will be all put together, but that's kind of what we're going for here. We want a very simple case that can kind of fit in a living room environment, not too big, can fit next to like a home theater setup if you want to, and it doesn't cost a ton of money. Obviously, you can go down the mini ITX rabbit hole, spend a ton of money on a board, and go really, really compact, but we think price to performance, this case makes a lot of sense, and we'll also leave some suggestions down below for other alternatives if you are interested, but really like the Zalman case. It does a really good job at being what it is, a budget case that is compact, and in this video, we're gonna show you guys how to build in it. Again, this is a step-by-step guide. You probably noticed by the length of the video. It's quite long, but we're doing that so you guys can actually copy this at home step by step. Jackson's gonna show you how to set up the motherboard, put in the CPU, the RAM, the storage, the cooler, get that ready to go. Then I'm gonna show you how to add this fan that we got to this case, plop everything in there, cable manage, and then we'll show you guys Windows 11 install and Winhanced. Again, this is a full guide you can follow along at home to see if you want to copy this yourself. Let's not waste any more time and get that motherboard prepped.
So guys, we got our motherboard out here on the table. We actually are using the box. We think this is a great surface to build on. And what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go ahead and open our Ryzen 5 5500 EDC time. So we got our 5500 open. So right here we have our stock AMD cooler. It's actually gonna come with thermal paste pre-applied, and then we have our 5500. Now, this is one of the older AM4 CPUs that has pins on the actual CPU. You want to be careful with these guys because they're very easy to bend. So I recommend kind of holding it from like the edges. You can even hold from the corners if you want, but long story short is just don't put a lot of pressure when you hold it and don't hold it by the pins. What we're going to do is we're going to take this motherboard slot and you're going to push out, so towards me basically. So I'm going to demonstrate that one more time, out and then up. And you're gonna bring this all the way up, 90 degrees with the board. There's gonna be a little arrow here. There's gonna be a little arrow there. It's pretty hard to see, but you get the idea, and it can only go in one way. You'll know if you're putting in the CPU wrong because, well, there's gonna be some pins bent. I recommend once you get it in, I like to kind of just double check that it's in all the way. Sometimes those pins are just ever so slightly off. And then I just closed the bracket and it's that easy. So CPU is installed. Now we're gonna do the CPU part cooler because this thing needs to stay cool or else we're not going to be gaming. We're not going to be keeping up with that Steam machine, that's for sure. Notice the pre-applied thermal paste. Sometimes it's in a square pattern, sometimes it's circular. It's kind of random. I feel like it differs. We are going to be using a, you can use a PH1 or a PH2. This PH2 would be the best, but we just have a 1 on here. I'm going to show you guys you can use both if you use some force. So we're going to take off these stock brackets. Now pretty much every board, brand new from the factory, that's AM4, will come with these brackets. So we're going to remove these. I guess AM5 does too, now I'm thinking about it, and AM3. They always do. Anyways, let's just get these off. Okay, now this is essential. We do want to make sure that we have this bracket here. This is removable on the M4, and if you buy a used board, make sure it comes with it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make sure that the logo is facing this way. If you want, you can get, yeah, we could get fancy. Should we get fancy, Jonah?
Let's get fancy.
Let's get fancy. This always differs. I'm thinking what we're gonna be able to do here. So what I'm getting ready to do is I'm gonna flip this cooler, because right now, if you look, it's rectangular, right? So these are further apart than these. It has to go on like this, which blocks a RAM slot and it's sideways, or this, which is fine, but it's sideways. So we're gonna flip this, you know, because name of science. So the best way to do this is probably gonna be sitting on top of this plastic so we don't ruin our thermal paste. I will say these screws, they often suck to get out. Yeah, like that's not even spinning, I'm just stripping it. We're gonna grab a thin screwdriver, because this is the easiest way, is if we can just get this, yeah, there we go. So yeah, we just need a thinner screwdriver than our LTT one, but just be really careful. These will strip so easy. I don't know if you saw when I slipped there, if I did that like 2 or 3 more times, that screw's not coming out. Nope, okay, that one came all the way out. Maybe this one's not. No, it feels like it's out. All right, let's go to the other side. Okay, we're just gonna rotate it just 1 turn. And yeah, luckily the top of the cooler is square. I've never understood why they don't just ship them like this. I feel like it would give AMD some street cred. I guess it's not AMD. Technically, you know, these coolers are actually made by Cooler Master last time I checked. It's kind of funny. So, you know, Cooler Master, come on. Yep, we're good. Just wanna make sure it's not gonna be rattling. Oh wait, this one's still a little loose. Yep, we're good. Just checking all the way around, making sure they're all the way on. Okay, that was a long, lengthy project. So another thing that I like to do is I like to take this cable and, I mean, there's 2 ways of doing this. You could run it behind the board a little bit, but obviously with the case we're putting in, we're not gonna have a ton of room. So I'm gonna get a little fancy here, I think. We're gonna do the double loop-de-loop and pull. So one of the things you wanna be careful about when you do what I just did, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in, by the way, CPU fan 1. I don't know if you can see that label there. CPU fan 1. Yep. So we're gonna make sure that our cable is not, actually, I just noticed you can get a really good view of that. Making sure our cable's not like underneath the CPU. I have done that before, believe it or not. They're like, oh, we believe it. But yeah, you just wanna make sure that you're not gonna pinch the cable in between the CPU and the heatsink, because that would not be good for thermals. And we'll double check once we get this tightened down. We'll basically kind of tug on the cable a little bit. But what I'm doing right now is I'm doing opposing corners for tightening these screws down. The same way that you would do like a torque sequence on like anything involving a car or any type of machinery. It's just a good practice to do because that CPU is flat. We want to keep it that way. And if we like crank down just one corner, we may not be flat anymore. So what I'm doing right now is just making sure that none of this is tight. Yep, we're good. I can see her moving all the way around. So now our cooler's installed. I always like doing this too. Fun little test. Any cooler, you should be able to pick up the whole entire board and it shouldn't just fall off until you know you got it on right.
Except for the Arctic coolers.
Except for if it's a magnetic little mount, yeah, be careful. Let's go ahead and do the RAM. The RAM's pretty fun, pretty easy. We have 2 sticks. Obviously, some boards have 2 latches. They have 1 on each side, so you can go like this. This one doesn't. This is a fixed latch. So we're gonna be putting RAM in slots 2 and 4. So 2, 4, and you can see here that is slot A2 and B2. That's going to allow us to run in dual channel, and that's typically always going to be they call it like first. Those are the DIMMs that you should always use first. This is notched. I already tried to put it in the wrong way. So notice how the notch only lines up this way. What I like to do is I like to get this end down first. You get a little click, and then that end. The RAM should close itself. If you have to, the slot. If you have to do this, your RAM's probably not in all the way. Push harder. I know it's scary, but you gotta push through it. We can push through this together. Once again, boom. That feels good. I feel like we're nice and seated. Okay, so RAM and CPU, cooler installed. I will say the logo being flipped, and I like the white with the black. It looks nice for both of those. Now we have one more thing. Luckily, we have a heatsink here, which is pretty cool. Now this is gonna be the one step that's gonna require a pH1 or pH0. So this is a pH1. It's a good amount smaller than your typical pH2. This is a pH2, and if you look, I mean, we're not even close to being able to do anything with that. But then notice this one. Oh, she fits right in there. So this is our M.2 heatsink. Not every board's gonna have one of these. This is just, like I said, it's a cool board for the price. So it actually has this little heatsink that'll keep our SSD just a little bit cooler. You are gonna need to peel this off. I can't tell you how many PCUS customers have came in as like sell us a build and that peel's still on there. Kind of defeats the purpose because this is a thermal pad. It's sticky and it keeps our temps down on the SSD. So we're gonna take this, it's keyed. And it is normal for it to sit like this. It's supposed to sit diagonal, and then you're gonna come in either with a screw, your finger, whatever. You need to get that down. Now I will say, this is one of the styles that I'm not the biggest fan of, but like, it works. The actual M.2 heatsink holds in the M.2 as well. I like when they have separate screws, but honestly, that is simply a preference thing. So there we go. And actually, it's nice. The heatsink has enough weight where it kind of holds down the actual SSD. So very simple. Now with these screws, you do not need to tighten the crap out of these. I don't even like to actually use the handle of the screwdriver. I just do this. This is like, you could use like one of those precision screwdriver kits and be totally fine because it doesn't need force. I've had people literally break these off and it's not fun to get them out. So at this point, the motherboard's built. That was actually really easy. I think it's my favorite part of the PC build. So now Matt is gonna show you guys how to get the power supply in and then how to actually get the motherboard into the case.
All right guys, the motherboard is ready to go, but we have to get our power supply and case ready for that motherboard. We're gonna start with the power supply first, opening up the box to get your power cord. Don't wanna lose that, put that off to the side. I mentioned at the beginning, this is a semi-modular power supply that is now broken. I just slapped it on the table. Semi-modular power supply, meaning you got all these extra cables that normally are ones you will use. The one downside is this comes with an ATX 3.1 connector, which we won't be using, and we'll have to cable manage a little bit later, which Jackson will show you how to do in a bit. That's his problem to deal with. But cable management shouldn't be too bad here. We have the 24 pin, we have CPU power and this. So then all we really need to add is, in this bundle, a PCI power, which allows us to power a graphics card. Obviously, if you get a modern GPU, like a 50 series GPU, you can actually power it using that connector and you won't need to add this. But since we're using a 3060 12 gig, the old GPU decided to release again, you gotta use one of these bad boys. So we're gonna go ahead and take it and plug it into the only spot it can go in, PCIe. And plug it in. And we don't need any SATA or anything. We don't have any RGB, any hubs or anything. We're doing that. We just got two fans. Plain fans have no RGB on them, so they'll just be running off the motherboard. So we can move that out of the way and move our power supply out of the way because we don't need it just yet. Oh, actually, I think we need something out of that box. Ah, yes. Always grab this. This is some zip ties you can use for cable management and a couple of the screws we will need for the power supply. A little more hiding in there, but they're coarse threaded power supply screws that have the little head on the top. Those are the ones you're going to want to use to install the power supply, so hang on to those. Now, I want to add that fan that we were talking about, which then I realized, I don't know if this comes in white. If it does, we'll put a picture on screen here. It's an $8 fan. If it comes in white, you can get one just to match it a little better. We got a black one, which is not the end of the world, but we're going to install it using this little bracket that's right here, which does support 120 mil fans. So we're going to head and unscrew right here, which will allow us to basically pull out this bracket, just like so. All right, here comes our bracket, and we're going to have the fan kind of facing on top of this, and then we're going to screw it in from the other side. Here's the screws that we need to make that possible, and our thin little fan. I mean, look how thin this thing is, but this is super nice because we're actually able to add a little bit of airflow to this build. Now, I want to kind of eyeball this based on where it's going to go and how we want the cable to go. This is probably our best bet. If we flip it over and line it up like so, you can see right here, right here, right here, and right here, that is where we're going to screw it in using the screws that we were given with the fan. So let's open it up. We're going to use these screws, the ones that basically add the threading to the fan as we screw it in. So we're going to take our screwdriver, line it up. This is where I triple check to make sure I did it right, yes. So half the time I end up doing the wrong setup and then having to redo it. All right, so here we go. Here's the mount. Got the fan installed. Should just be able to slide it back into where it was, like so. Let's see, am I on there? Get these little clips to line up like there. Okay, now we're gonna take that screw we just took out, which I still have right here on my screwdriver, and we're gonna screw this back in. And there we go, we have our fan mount. Perfect, so this right here will allow you to plug it up directly to the motherboard, and we have airflow going through the front now, so we should have no temperature problems. And just for the sake of testing it, because the reason I got it is because the GPU will need some room. Even with the GPU installed, we are good to go. I'm glad I got a thin one though, because a normal one would be pretty close, pretty dang close. So thin fan for the win. So now it's a time to install our motherboard. And Jonah pointed out that we got to make sure the standoffs are right on the case before we install it. Well, one thing to point out is that it's using fixed standoffs. But the one thing that's different with this case is even though it has fixed standoffs, there are these two posts right here that have an additional standoff. Depending on where the location is on your motherboard, you may need to move this standoff to a different spot. Just keep an eye on that. For us, our standoff location or where we need to screw in the motherboard is at the bottom, so we do not need to move it. But there's a chance you may have to move it up to this one, depending on what motherboard you go with. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm thinking we'll do motherboard. Yeah, it really, you can't go wrong either way. So I'm just gonna stay with the normal traditional way. I'm not gonna do anything freaky. I'm gonna put the power supply in first, which is important to make sure you put the power supply in the right way, because you could actually damage your power supply doing this the wrong way. There is no ventilation up here. This right here, no ventilation at all. You can see right there, there's nothing. So what you're going to do when you take your power supply is make sure the fan is facing down so that this thing can get proper ventilation. This is old school, ladies and gentlemen. It goes up top. Heck yeah, baby. So we're gonna go ahead and put the power supply up top so we can get the slide in where it needs to go. So you kind of have to get the power supply just right up in there to where the holes do line up. So we got this one, this one, this one, and this one. A little bit off, but there's enough clearance for you to be able to screw the power supply in. I'm gonna grab one of those power supply screws and get one started so we can actually get this thing kind of held in so I can then let go, because I will say this angle is not very comfortable that I'm doing right now. And there we go, power supply is installed. We have all our cables off to the side. Now we're gonna lay things down so we can put our I/O shield in and then install the motherboard. Pull these cables out, get them out of the way for right now. Move all this other stuff out of the way too. Okay, move this here. Now we're gonna take our I/O shield that Jackson got out for us, and we're gonna make sure that the audio ports line up the proper way, this way. So that's what we're going to do, is we're gonna put the I/O shield in. Copy this at home. Move that cable out of the way. I/O shields can be a little difficult sometimes. You have to push in the corners. This one is actually not too bad. I think we're nice and seated there, not too bad. Keep these cables out of the way because you don't want to pinch any cables when you do install your power supply. I will say, maybe, is that gonna be over stand off? Yeah, I probably should take these off. So probably take the little covers off these. These are your front I/O connectors, your USB 3, your all that sort of fun stuff. Same deal, let's just kind of move them out of the way so they don't get pinched underneath the motherboard. Cable management is gonna be a little more difficult with this compared to a traditional build because there is no back panel. That is the one downside with this case. So we're gonna take our motherboard, hold it by the cooler, and now we're gonna try to put it in. We're gonna drop it in like so. Joe's gonna show you guys where the I/O lines up, and just like that, our motherboard is inside the case. Now we're gonna get our bag out that was inside the case originally that has a bunch of screws that we need. And I'm gonna show you guys the motherboard screws, which we got some silver screws to work with. We're gonna be using these guys. These are some fine threaded screws. That one's trying to run away from me. For comparison, that is a coarse threaded screw that we use in the power supply. We want to use these fine threaded ones. So we're gonna take our screwdriver and we're gonna go ahead and screw into a bunch of different points here. So we have one right here, one all the way on that corner, one all the way over here, one here, 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 and here. So we got a lot of screwing to do. I don't know if Jackson did the plug yet, but LTT screwdriver, lttstore.com. Get a different screwdriver. One downside of the LTT screwdriver, sometimes it can be a little too thick for screwing in those ones on the side, then they go in weird angles. So buy an LTT screwdriver, but then also have another screwdriver.
It'll help make it, it'll make it easier.
Yeah, make it easier. You can make it work. I just rather not, you know, force it in and cross thread the hell out of it. It's not as fun. It's not as fun. Okay, there we go. Motherboard is screwed in, entirely screwed in, as secure as it can possibly be. Now, we're just gonna get a little bit eyeballing at what we're looking at here, because again, this could be a little different than our normal build guides in the sense that normally Jackson would be on the back side, I'll be on the front side. You can do with that what you want, video editor. And we normally do cable management that way. But this way, I honestly just need to plug stuff up, and then Jackson's gonna show you guys how to bundle them up the best you can to keep it as clean as possible. So just looking at things here, I guess we have this one spot right here for a fan header. We might be able to cleanly make that work. We also have one up here for CPU fan. That might be our best bet. Kind of one of these where Jackson would cable manage it up here, kind of hide it that way. I'm gonna run these kind of temporarily. He may just undo everything we did here. But I'm gonna say this right here is probably the best bet. And then we have the CPU fan plugged in. We obviously need to get the power connectors plugged in and the front panel. How do you think we should do this, Jonah?
I think we should put the PC in the overhead set
and just do it there.
And just plug everything in and manage it there.
All right, I think we should do that then. Let's do that. All right, guys. So we are on the overhead setup. Jackson's here now. You can't see him, but you can hear him. He's here. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is get everything plugged up, because again, this is a different kind of case. There's no back panel, so obviously we just want to get everything plugged up pretty quickly. But we still want to show you guys step by step how to do it. Let's see. Let's start with CPU power. Now, CPU power, what do you think? We should probably run.
Probably keep it towards the top.
Okay, keep it towards the top. Here's the CPU power. I'm trying to keep it up top as possible. Jackson's here is cable management advisement. This up here is the CPU power. You're gonna take that CPU power connector and you're gonna plug it up right there where the clip lines up top. Push it in. Till you hear a beep of a microwave.
That's how I know my rice is ready.
Until you hear a click. It wasn't much of a click, but I know it's in there. Sometimes it doesn't click super loudly, but it's definitely in there. This will get cable managed a little bit later. Push that off to the side. 24 pin's pretty simple. Biggest thing is, and Jackson can definitely reiterate on that, is just making sure you don't get your cables all twisted up. You want to kind of get them separated, makes it easier to manage. 24 pin right next to the RAM slots right here. It's this guy right here with the clip. Here's what it looks like, 24 pin. Gonna line up and
Clorp.
And Clorp. Torp. Shout out Torp. Torp's getting so much screen time, it's crazy. All right, so 24 pins out of the way. We're also, you guys already saw we did plug in that one fan header up there before, so you guys saw that. That's the one for the back, which I think is in a pretty decent spot. Now next up we have USB 3. It's this chunky boy right here. USB 3 is below the 24 pin right here. We're gonna take it, line up the missing little clip spot. Be careful with it because it can be a little fragile. There you go. You're just gonna leave this cable like this. Just like that. Just kidding, it looks horrible. Next we're gonna do front panel. McAllister or editor, diagram on screen here, your favorite part. You can see what the front panel looks like and where it's gonna go. It's gonna go, this is a camera angle, ladies and gentlemen, in this bottom right corner. Follow the diagram because I can't help you any other way. Power LED positive on the far left, power switch across, and this one doesn't have a reset switch, so easy peasy. At least I'm not missing it. Yep, I'm not missing it. Okay, then we're gonna take these guys to USB and HD audio. I hope that picked up on camera. Zach had the audacity yesterday when I was filming a voice line and there was like a screen in the background being like, there's no way that was me.
Oh my God.
And I was like, he's the one who screams 90%
Jonah
of the
literally
time
had
in
to
his
close
office.
the door when I was doing my section because Zach did his yawn where he screamed while he did
Yeah,
it.
he does that. All right, USB headers, there. Those are USB
We
headers.
should just make Jonah hold the camera overhead like this.
Oh, and he just cannot move. He's standing on the table crouched.
Oh, we should have used the wall tripod.
Oh, wait a minute, he might have
Give him
been
another
onto something.
chance.
And then HD audio, far left corner, right there. Now, last thing we have, and I'll leave it up to Jackson to see how he wants to do it, is that front fan we added, because here's the cable right here. It actually has a daisy chain effect, so we could just run both fans off of each other onto one header. Might be the cleanest way to do it. But we already have that one that's plugged up in the top corner, so I think I have everything minus the GPU being ready. We'll have to pop the GPU in last. I'll go grab that, but Jackson can kind of get the basic cable management out of the way while I do that.
All right, let's see what we got to work with here. So yeah, these types of cases are definitely a fun one. I mean, you save a lot of money, but obviously it's at the sacrifice of not having a basement, or as we sometimes call it, the attic. Let's go ahead and get that last fan plugged in.
So the top one's plugged in the top right corner channel fan header. So I don't know if you want to plug it into its own header or
We'll give it its own.
Its own power.
We'll put it in channel 4/water pump. So yeah, we can do most of the cable management before the GPU gets installed. Just keep in mind that you're gonna have to install a GPU, so try to keep some slack on there. But we got some pretty big zip ties for this. We're doing, I think these are 8-inch zip ties. You're gonna want, for one like this, you're gonna need some big guys. You're not gonna be using those little bread ties to hold any of this back.
You're saying 4 inches isn't enough?
4 inches is actually not enough in this use case. Any other time it's plenty, of course. You can use the snips to pull these a little tighter, but I like to use like whatever I can find on the case. Again, this, for example, I'm using like the actual cooler to kind of hold some of these cables down, keep things a little bit tighter. But this is the kind of build that like anywhere we can find to, you know, hold down a zip tie or a cable, we're gonna be using it. We can kind of snip as we go with this one too, instead of like all at once, because there might not be a ton of room by the time we get to the point of snipping these. I like to also, just one extra touch is I like to turn the zip ties around. I think it looks a little cleaner. Okay, so this is gonna end up being right about here. And we're just gonna need our single, so I'm just gonna go ahead. I already know we can put a zip tie here. And then for the bottom here, which this is good to go ahead and kill manage the bottom, You can get fancy too if you want to run some stuff underneath the board, but we're not going to be doing any of that. Now, see, I'm going to get a little freaky here. I'm going to actually run a zip tie. I'm running a zip tie through the bottom here because it literally does nothing. I mean, it's some ventilation, but there's no fans there or anything, so
might as well.
Yeah, this is a good mounting point. And the zip tie is just short enough where the feet should be able to be slightly, they're a little bit taller than the zip tie. But I guess if you wanted to, you could put the nub in the inside. And I want to watch when I do this to make sure I'm not getting ready to like pull something out. Oh yeah, baby. Now I'm gonna have to do some standing here. Whatever tech we can find, we're gonna take. Okay, getting that USB 3 kind of tightened down. Okay, yeah, I think any of the last second cable management's gonna have to be after GPU. Do you want me to?
Yeah, pop her on in.
Yeah.
There she is.
I don't normally do this stuff, so I hope we can handle it. Here's our 3060. Nice and small. Well, for this case, it's actually large.
The right size.
Yeah, it looks good. All right, let's go and get this screw out. So we're getting the screw out that's holding our little, it's really just a cover plate. It swings. There we go. We got it all the way out. So the first thing we're gonna actually do is we're kind of lining up the GPU. You can kind of see where the back would be. We have two covers here, PCIe break off tabs. So we're gonna break these two off.
Yeah, use your brute force.
We're gonna brute force attack it.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Pardon
Now
me?
be careful when you wiggle these because sometimes there's capacitors on the board, and well, you can wiggle into a capacitor.
Did you ever theory test those little spots where like it looks like a screwdriver would fit right there, and you could just like?
I don't even know like what you would.
I've done that before, but I don't know if that's what.
It feels like I'm gonna like twist the whole case.
Yeah, it does.
We'll see that this one's like really in there, so we'll use a screwdriver.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
LTTstore.com.
I'm telling you, dude, I need to text him and ask if he can make a hammer. We need a precision hammer for little machinists like ourselves. All right, two break-off tabs are out. Now, make sure that this right here is open. And we're gonna take our GPU. We got everything out of the way now. Looks good. All right, we're gonna hear a click. You ready?
Oh, we actually heard a click.
That was a good click. Okay, so now you'll see this little tab back here. I guess it's a lip, really. We're gonna go ahead and put this bracket back in. Potentially.
If it'll fit with the GPU. Brute force.
Okay, maybe we just I think we needed some angulation. That's a new word. That's word of the day right there.
Angulation.
That bottom. I know my hand's in the way right now. Terribly sorry.
You get the vibe.
You get the drift.
There you go.
Well, graphics card is screwed in, and it looks pretty good. So now, let's plug in that last connector. This is the PCIe. It actually says PCIe on an 8-pin. Sometimes it's a 2+6, but we got them together because we need all the 8-pin power for a 3060. Okay, so now that we have everything in, we can actually like finalize cable management, get everything where we want it. So I'm gonna go ahead and snip some excess here. Now keep in mind, this is one of those cases where if you're not super worried about all that RGB aesthetic and seeing inside your case, this is for you. I mean, it's cheap and you can't see in it. And because of that, we don't really need to worry that much about cable management, but we just want good airflow. We want it to be easy to dust off later on. It's nice I can actually use this cable to kind of hold the GPU up a little bit too. And we just want it to look good for whenever we do have to open it up and show people.
And also try to keep the cable out of the fan too. That always helps.
Yeah, you know, most of the time.
Most of the time. You'll hear it when it's in the fan.
It'll go brrr.
It'll have an alarm noise.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna cut these last two, and then I'm gonna kind of just do like a once over to see if there's anything else I think I could do here to make it cleaner. Not really. I mean, we could try to get these cables tucked up a little bit more, but honestly, like I said, side panel kind of deal. Really, the best thing you could do is just get a little more slack up here, and I think it'd look a little nicer because right now we're partially covering the RAM, but this is definitely satisfactory for me for a non-see-through case that doesn't have a basement. So this looks pretty good, but does it work?
Let's power up. All right, guys, we have our side panel on so you guys can get the idea. Obviously, this is what the build looks like. We'll take it off to show you guys that it actually is turning on.
Would you even know if I cable managed?
I don't know. Boom, just like that.
Arctic fan's nice and quiet.
Our build's turning on. Yeah, the Arctic fan's nice. $8 for that low profile fan's pretty cheap. Definitely worth it for this case if you want additional airflow. But all in all, this is looking pretty good. Hopefully the step-by-step guide was very informative for you guys at home. But now we get to installing Windows. What's going on? We missed something?
No, I was just tidying up. Last minute tidy.
Just a little tidy. Next step is installing Windows, specifically Windows 11. We're going to install it and get it ready to go. We have a whole video on actually testing Windows 11, especially talking about how Windows 10 is not supported. So if you want to see that video, we'll reference it in the top right corner. But we'll install Windows 11, then the program Winhanced, which is a way to make kind of like a Steam machine interface within Windows to where you can use a controller and everything, a controller from a couch setup. We'll get that set up and show you guys what that process is like. It's super simple to get working. But then we'll get to gaming and show you guys what the whole experience is like. All right, it's time to get into the software section of today's video, and it's going to be pretty simple. First thing we're going to do is install Windows 11, and if you haven't done that before, go to Microsoft's website and you can download the Windows Media Creation tool, get a flash drive, around 16 gigs is kind of recommended, create a bootable USB that way, or you can follow some of our guides in the past where we show you guys how to make the super secret Rufus method. We'll be sure to reference that video if you want to go watch that directly. But assuming you know how to get Windows good to go, you're going to plug it into your PC and go through the Windows install process. Make sure everything is installed properly, and once you're on the desktop, get all your stuff installed. That is, get your drivers going. For us, we have an NVIDIA GPU, so we're going to run with NVIDIA app, get our drivers installed and ready to go. Then we're going to download 3 games from 3 different launchers to show you guys how Winhanced works. So we're going to install Epic Games for Fortnite, we're going to install Battle.net for Call of Duty, and Steam for Apex Legends. Once we get all those launchers installed and all our games downloaded, we can then download the Winhanced utility. Go to the website using the link down below, download the utility, and start the install process. It's literally a one-click install process, and then afterwards you exit out of the installer. Takes you into a stage where you go through a checklist to customize Winhanced however you want. I leave stuff pretty much default for the most part because you can always customize stuff later to a different way that you want to. And then from there, you're inside Winhanced. Now, I recommend you link all of your accounts directly through Winhanced also. So go to Steam, go to Epic, and go to Battle.net and go ahead and link your accounts. This allows you to be able to update games and even shop for games within Winhanced. Once you're signed into those accounts, it really adds to that immersive feature, so you're not just launching a game from the Winhanced menu. You can actually do stuff within these applications through Winhanced, and that's really all you gotta do to get things set up. Now I'm gonna bring Jackson in here and we're gonna go through the initial tour of Winhanced, show you what it's all about, how it works, and how you can basically turn your Windows PC into a Steam machine, and it's better than the Xbox game mode that is kind of clunky.
So we are in Winhanced, and this is something that I have never, I guess Matt's probably never really used it either.
Not much, just a few minutes that I've got it set up. So the biggest thing is once you get this installed is obviously it auto detects all your games and gives artwork. I love how it gives Call of Duty, the old Call of Duty picture.
It says, yeah, recent. I would say, have you played the old one recently?
No, that's literally installed Warzone. So that's what it thinks Warzone is. Because I guess because it pops up as just Call of Duty now, they probably see just the name and they're like, let's put the original Call of Duty artwork on it. But it's all auto artwork.
Okay. And then we got like a bunch of gamer news here, which is kind of cool, like gamer and tech news. Let's see our library, 416 games, and we can go through like the different launchers as well, which is pretty cool. We got store if we want to, I wonder what's in.
This will actually let you look at new games through all your app stores.
Whoa,
it's all
crazy.
in one. So if you scroll through, it'll actually show you all the different games you can buy.
This game got cheap,
yeah.
89 cents.
On GOG or through Steam, and then you can install them through here. Basically the whole goal is to make it to where you don't have to leave this app with a controller if you don't want to.
Notice the highest rated game in this list, Matt. Crazy.
It's pretty highly rated.
Okay, then let's see, let's go back. We got friends list and then settings. So, okay, that's pretty cool. It looks like we can do a lot of different setting things here. We can change specific libraries.
Some of these are for designed for handhelds, like Sleep and Wake, to where if you like turn your handheld off, it'll hold its state where you come back on, you're in game, stuff like that.
Customize the back paddles.
You can add Discord friends.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Cool, and then there's some updates and stuff. And then I see up top here we have, it looks like, yeah, you can get to it with the controller. We got our volume. We can turn on Bluetooth. You can see our internet. And does this just bring us back to like Windows if we did this?
So you can minimize, we'll take you to Windows. Just take you back to Windows, and then there it is right there in the background. So yeah, it basically it just sits on top of Windows 11. So it's basically like a better version of the Xbox game mode that Microsoft tried to use, but it isn't as fluid, it doesn't work as well, and this is free too. So it does use a good amount of RAM.
Uses a gig of RAM,
yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming once we start gaming, that shouldn't change because it's really just running in the background, just like Discord or anything else.
Pretty much, yes.
I don't think they game. It's not like it's launching through this. So, okay. Well, yeah, I'm curious to see what happens if we, so is Apex here?
Yeah, Apex should be ready to go. And then it adds this whole setup here to where it shows your hours, your playtime and everything, and then it just launches.
Okay. And then, yeah, Winhanced is still there, but Apex.
It's like a little cartridge. It's like, I'm installing Winhanced. Apex Legends!
Okay, well, yeah, we'll give Apex a go and get rid of that right now.
Let's get rid of some background text.
Copilot, really. I know what I look like. It launched. That's already a good start, right?
Now see if Steam's overlay works, because I know they have their own overlay. I have not figured out how to use it. Okay, Steam's will just work, so you can just use Steam's. Okay, so now we're in...
AMD /
And then there's the performance overlay thing. You should be able to do it all with the controller, actually. You can close that out. I don't know what all that is.
Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of stuff popping up. There's Xbox Social. Why did they just threw everything up on the screen at once?
15 watt? What is
I guess
this?
you could change your game profile based on a handheld, but I'm assuming that won't be on now. We'll see if it...
Wouldn't that be funny if we could limit
that
the
would be
wattage?
pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, use per game profile, and that's off right now.
Okay. Suspend game, back to game. And then I think that performance section, or actually no, the Winhanced HUD next to it. That right there? No, there should be one that should give you a...
Oh, here, right here.
Okay, you can see that. But I thought there was one that should
like a overlay.
Frame rate, maybe the over arrow up there. No, see it on. I'll look at that for the next game. We could just do Steams for this one, but I know they have one because when you install Winhanced, one of the things it installs is Riva Tuner. So like it installs in the background, and I think it has its own overlay similar to like Afterburner.
That's pretty cool.
But we'll find that. But for now, this one won't work.
All right, we're gonna try controller here. We have no RAM left.
Oh no!
So let's check and see if the app ended up changing at all. How much it's using.
It's still a little less.
Yeah, it's actually less now. That's so weird. I wonder why. No, barely any CPU.
It's mainly
1%,
RAM.
And then disk, yeah, none really. So yeah, just like a gig of RAM to run it. Just something to keep in mind if you build like an 8 gig system or something. Maybe you're doing this like an old Optiplex. God, do people do this?
People do this?
I can't believe people do this for fun. Like Flatline, that feels like a good roller weapon. Dude, I feel so slow.
His FOV looks crazy too.
That's
probably it too. Oh wow, no, you can't.
I can't.
He can't do it.
It's literally just everything's so slow. Oh, it's like, what settings are you running? I should probably lower a tad bit.
This is 1440p, so we're running 1440p with the 3612 gig, which is a good GPU, but you know.
It is running pretty good. We're we're hitting the frame cap.
Yep, not too bad.
That looks great.
Yeah. Can you be a roller player?
I know, I'm always like talking about how cheesy roller is, and here I am.
It's one of those where I bet you practice roller.
No, I think if you're good on roller, I think it's busted. All right, shielding.
I just feel kind of boomer running around though.
No, I do not use controller. The only time I use controller is like racing games. I gotta aim punch. That's what they all do. Aim punch and don't zoom in. Mostly not using headphones, which isn't the smartest, but I think my aim assist is off.
Oh yeah.
I killed one.
The haunted skids. You killed a skid mark.
All right, now.
Yeah,
now for comparison purposes, I think my movement will be a little better. My aim might honestly be worse, so I don't know.
And honestly, you would play a lot of games, especially for someone who's mainly keyboard and mouse on PC, which most of you guys are. You're going to be playing games. Much better. You're going to be playing games that are like controller only mainly. Like FPS games, you probably won't be doing this. But just because we mentioned these games at the beginning, I felt like we had to play these.
Yeah. Oh no, it's this guy.
He's cracked out of his mind!
He's not even shooting, he's just movementing.
It's like a knife player in Call of Duty.
Yeah, he really is.
Oh! Oh!
Maybe he was sitting still. Oh my good God, Jesus.
Whoever's editing this, do an edit of Jackson and I in the retirement community in like wheelchairs holding controllers.
We've won! We've won!
All right.
Enhanced is enhanced.
Last thing we gotta do is show them, because obviously when you're gaming, you wanna swap games. You obviously don't wanna have to touch a keyboard and mouse. Let's back out and see if we can get back to Winhanced. I have not done it this way, but we could try it this way. I've never done it this way. Let's see if it goes.
The menus, man.
I will say, I think some of this too is the Xbox stuff.
No, it definitely. I would say this is the Xbox.
This is the Xbox one. So this isn't the Winhanced mode. Exit game. Oh, exiting Apex, and we're back.
Oh, I'm just back in it.
Beautiful.
Is that easy?
It was that easy.
Microsoft, get out of here.
But see, Microsoft still finds its way to inject itself. Now you can't get rid of that without a controller.
Out of it?
What just happened?
I don't know.
Oh, now you're in Steam Big Picture mode.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you want to get away from the mouse and keyboard, but you just can't.
Yep. All right, so the only reason I'm starting this a little early, as you guys can see, we have the overlay working in the top left corner. It's kind of small, and it's funny because it's designed for handhelds initially. You see the battery percentage, 100%. If that ever goes below 100%, you should be concerned about your PC. You see CPU usage, VRAM, and yeah, the time. So we're gonna load in. When you hit the Windows button, it pops up this menu. I will say this is like the clunkiest thing ever, because if you have all the windows open, all the different widgets, it becomes like a layering nightmare. And I get the idea is you kind of just work your way through them, but then when they're all stacked on top of each other, it's horrible. But once you get into the WinHUD section, under all, that's where you get the performance overlay. And you can change resolution, you can go through and change the overlay here, your frame rate. I saw one thing, if you go to scaling, you can actually, if you have loss of scaling installed, you could run loss of scaling through here on your applications. That's pretty cool. But let's go ahead and back our way out. Actually, I have to show this. Why does this exist? Why is that there? Anyways, all right, we're in Fortnite. Let's play. But we're running higher details. We're actually getting like 70 FPS on these details, which is kind of crazy. Which is not the real Fortnite experience. You can definitely run lower details and get a much better experience.
Jesus.
This thing is chunking.
You know, right, first time loading.
And it's 5500. It's at like 100% usage right now, so. 5500 is a solid CPU, but it definitely has its limitations.
Are we getting the networking error sign? It says no Wi-Fi.
We have no Wi-Fi. That ain't true. We definitely have Wi-Fi.
Oh no. I didn't know you were crazy on the sticks. Dude, if that guy had moved,
I would have been
done.
I don't even know. Was I emoting?
Is that the Pops Blue Ribbon logo?
Oh my goodness.
Dude, what are you gonna do when Fortnite does a
beer collab?
Yeah, Miller. Fortnite, brought to you by Miller. Ooh, next victim. Can you feel the aim assist at all?
I can feel it.
It doesn't help much when you don't use controller. They're not turning around. They never turned around. Oh, because they had their eyes locked in someone else.
Oh!
Yeah.
Honestly, when you get closer, that aim assist does hit pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just trying to get used to the actual buttons.
I feel like the game knows you're on roller right now. They're like, let's give them some, like, you know, some people that aren't gonna
some light
try
work.
Super hard.
If you were curious about it, I don't think I actually showed the settings. Settings, here we are. DX12, unlimited frame rate, high preset with DLSS set to balanced, and
1440p.
And 1440p. So we're really stressing this setup. Obviously, depending on what kind of setup you have, if you're actually running this in a couch gaming setup, you would have like a 4K TV. You might want to go with higher end hardware, or be okay with lowering the resolution. You can lower it within Windows, obviously, before you launch Winhanced, so then always default to that, or you can change it through the Winhanced HUD. I just like how easy it is to set up. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's free and it's easy to set up. So that's why I think it's a pretty cool alternative, especially if you're trying to play these games that require Windows. I'm all for the free things. What am I getting here?
Why just buy Steam Machine? It comes with a free distro.
Oh yeah, true. Free distro. Whee! Come here, boys.
Ooh, the card damage?
Triple T is here!
Triple T, no!
Oh, yeah.
Triple T!
That's crazy. How do you emote on
Quit
this?
killing people, Triple T!
Look at Triple T. But Triple T, there you go. Running Fortnite, working pretty good. Let's see if exiting works the same way. I mean, I would assume it does. So let's return to lobby. I want to see that little animation. That it kind of creeps me out a little bit, the little guy. So we hit this. I don't want to no, Fortnite. Am I giving you a survey? Close Fortnite, yes.
Why are you in the drop ship?
I think this is like there we go. It's like the animated graphic they had playing.
Oh.
Yeah, there it is. So, hey, we're back. Now, Jackson's gonna play Call of Duty 1. Just kidding, this is Warzone. He's gonna launch Call of Duty.
All right, guys, we are playing Call of Duty Modern Duty Warfare. This is Warzone, and we're currently at 1440p, DLSS set to balanced, and we're on the balanced preset CNN model. This is the one game that for some reason it was having trouble launching from the actual Winhanced menu. So I basically just had to kind of minimize it and just launch it like normal. It almost is like it couldn't find the game.
Yeah, that could be something where Battle.net is just not incorporated into Winhanced yet. Could be something to be added later down the line, but first game that we had an issue with.
Sensitivity feels insanely high.
Oh, that's what I got right in front of you. Oh no.
Dude, I can feel the Omni movement. I forget what it's like to be able to run backwards. I still don't understand how Omni movement was such a big deal.
I'm
running backwards. Whoa!
I'm running in multiple directions.
Is Call of Duty actually the first to do that?
I don't know.
You would think someone else I mean, literally, it's just, I'm just doing the same
You're just
thing.
running in all directions.
Instead of walking backwards, I'm running backwards. Like, it just sounds so simple. Yeah, you guys can see, I mean, we could lower some settings somewhere to get higher FPS. I mean, that's not too bad now. We're actually getting close to 100.
Yep, 90 to
I'm
100.
happy with that. I feel like on a TV, that's all you want, you know?
Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. EA 360 no scope 200.
Oh, this guy had a gross little gun, dude. He was about to do something crazy to me if I didn't kill him. Where'd this guy go? What the frick? That guy sucks! Is the new Call of Duty Black Ops 7?
No, it's another Modern Warfare, I thought.
I don't even know anymore.
I don't know. Well, they did Black Ops 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And then they said, let's do something different. What is
something
the
different?
next?
The fourth iteration of it.
That was 5.
Okay. So first Modern Warfare is Call of Duty 4.
And then
so what Call of Duty are we actually on now? Like 20? You know?
Yeah, let's see how many. I was gonna do it in my head, but there's no way. There's 22.
I think I died. 22 Call of Duty. So we're about to be on Call of Duty 23.
That's insane. Anywho, we were able to make this work in Winhanced. We played some games. It ran, not too shabby. Winhanced is cool. It's free, and it makes a PC like this possible. So let's wrap this video up.
This is really cool. Well guys, we've been Winhanced. We got to install Windows and play all the games that we wanted. We didn't have any of the typical Linux limitations, but Winhanced is pretty cool and it's free. So if you want to install on your PC right now at home, you can do it.
And to wrap things up, we ran 3D Mark Time Spy so you guys can get a cent per point calculation of this PC and also factor in the fact of you buying that GPU used, because we highly recommend you do that. We ended up getting a total score of 8,349, a CPU score of 7,051, and a GPU score of 8,630, which in its current price point is a 10 cent per point score. But if you buy a GPU used, particularly a 3060 12 gig used, that goes all the way down to 8 cents per point, which is pretty decent price performance for a PC like this. But again, the beauty of the system is you're not really limited to certain hardware. You can do whatever you want. Just build a normal PC with Windows 11. It can be really budget, it can be really high end. Just factor in that RAM usage we did notice in Winhanced when building the PC. So 16 gigs would be ideal. I wouldn't do like an 8 gig system or anything with this because you would lose some precious resources. But hey, Winhanced is cool, and you can make a PC that's very similar to a Steam machine, but running Windows with no game limitations. So if you're going to build this PC yourself, links down below will be affiliate links, and they will help us out. Let us know what you think of this project and PC in the comments down below.
And as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
And check out PCBros.tech if you want to buy a PC like this that can play any games, or hey, twitch.tv/ToastyBros. We're going to be giving away a Steam machine that's actually already gone now.
It's probably already gone by the time you're watching this video, but you know what? If you want to be in on future PC giveaways, definitely follow over on twitch.tv/ToastyBros and buy a PC at PC Bros. Use code ToastyBros on checkout, you will save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.